Some pretty massive exotic armor changes are on the way coming to Renegades in Destiny 2. Titans and especially Warlocks look to be eating pretty good. Hunters are still kind of on the down low. Here's everything you need to know. So last week we had a dev insights for the weapons coming to Renegades, but this week we have the armor tuning preview. Bungie says, hello from the rewards team. Today we're on to the second of our 3 sandbox preview articles for Renegades, this time focused on exotic armor changes. We have a selection of exotics to talk about that we have given a bit more love to match with the upcoming new artifact in Renegades, which we'll preview in This Week in Destiny, which comes out tomorrow. We first start with the Hunter exotics and Graviton Forfeit. Graviton Forfeit has struggled to find value in Destiny 2, especially after Void 3.0. With how abundant access to invisibility is nowadays, they've shifted this exotic into a kill streak or invis streak exotic that charges up your neutral game as you fade in and out of invisibility. So it now grants improved grenade, melee, and class ability recharge rates for a moderate duration each time you become invisible. The effect stacks up to 3 times. Effect time does not deplete while you are invisible. At 3 stacks of the buff, successive triggers additionally grant a portion of Void Overshield. Next up we have Omni Oculus. Given the success of other more support-centric exotics, Bungie is leaning Omni Oculus into a more potent support role to allow hunters to fill in a bit more of that selfless fireteam role. Granting the effects of Beyond the Veil to allies now also starts their health and shield regen. This only applies to allies and not to the hunter themselves. Shax is watching. Lucky Raspberry and Arc Bolt grenades for that matter have been out of the limelight for a long time. Due to their general slowness and low damage, they've done a pass over both Arc Bolt grenades itself and Lucky Raspberry to help with some of their consistency issues, as well as bringing them into today's build crafting options. So for the Arc Bolt grenade ability, increased projectile lifetime of chain projectile. This helps hit consistency on moving targets that are near the outer edge of the chain range. Now activates 0.1 second faster after the initial sensor sweep, from 0.6 to 0.5, and increased max chain range of the initial chain from 7 meters to 10. Now always applies Jolt on Arc Bolt grenade hits, and returns Arc Bolt energy on any application of the Jolt debuff, or triggering the Jolt chains on a target already affected by the debuff. For Orpheus Rig, alongside some ability changes coming in Renegades, they've also adjusted how Orpheus Rig benefits Shadow Shot. Look forward to more on this in the abilities article, but increase the super duration from 16 to 20 seconds. And lastly, we have the Gemini Jesters. Gemini Jester has been updated to use the new universal disorient verb. To keep the debuff effects versus players as similar as possible, they gave it some adjustments that should help it feel nearly identical to how it was prior, if not slightly more effective. Increased disorient duration against players from 0.5 to 1 second. In addition to applying disorient, misdirection also removes opposing players' HUD for 2 seconds, and increased disorient duration against PvE combatants from 2 seconds to 3. We now move on to Titan exotics, first up starting with Arbor Warden. This one hasn't managed to find much of a niche since its introduction to the game. They made some changes that will let players more aggressively claim space using the Renegades with good planning. Picking up 3 orbs of power enhances your next Renegade. Enhanced Renegade spawns a Y pattern of the 3 of your equipped barricade on Renegade detonation. This does not work with barricade modifications like Drenger's Lash or Storm's Keep. Dune Marchers. With the introduction of Bolt Charge and Storm's Keep in recent releases, they wanted to expand access to Bolt Charge to other thematically appropriate sources, and Dune Marchers is a perfect fit. Increased maximum chain count from 4 to 7. Each chain hit now grants 2 bolt charge stacks, 3 with the fragment, and glaive melees can now also trigger this chain. Ursa Furiosa. For this one, they're making some lighter quality of life improvements and bug fixes. Should now properly gain super energy if damage is blocked while the player has an overshield. Super energy stored is no longer scaled based on enemy difficulty. Super energy refund meter fill rate is doubled in at-power activities. Super energy refund meter fill rate is buffed by about 13.6%. Second Chance. In activities without barrier champions, Second Chance can be a bit lackluster. While a second charge of a shield throw and applying Weaken is somewhat powerful, Sentinel Titan does not have access to melee energy generation, so it struggles to get much value out of either effect. They added the following: spawns void breaches on shield throw final blows. Grant shield throw melee energy on picking up void breach. The Sentinel Shield Super's ranged attack shield throw now also weakens with this exotic equipped, and they fixed a bug where anti-barrier shield throw melee would not bounce to more than 2 targets. Armamentarium. While a second grenade charge is somewhat powerful, it's hard to justify choosing Armamentarium over an exotic that gives ability energy in today's sandbox. They're adding another ability to it that is focused on the armaments and ordnance fantasy that the exotic suggests. So now grants 10% grenade energy on weapon final blows. Now reloads the player's equipped weapon when using a grenade ability. Lion Rampants gets a small update here, now allows shooting while ADS when in lift. And for Peacekeepers, they increased mobility bonus from 25 to 30. And re-added the ability to swap load SMGs. And we finally come to the Warlocks with the Nothing Manacles up first. Charged and Nothing Manacles enhanced scatter grenades have been in an awkward spot for some time now due to how much slower they deal damage in comparison to the base grenade. Bungie made some adjustments to alleviate some of these inconsistencies. Additionally, Nothing Manacles has gotten a new perk that lets you cascade your scatter grenades and grant some deserved value when paired with Chaos Accelerant. So a reminder of the 9.1.5 adjustments to charge scatter grenades. Charge grenades now creates 4 more seekers. Increased charge seeker damage versus combatants by 25%. Improved charge seeker tracking versus combatants, and increased charge seeker lifetime. For this exotic, the charge scatter grenade ability, faster final projectile speed, now spawns additional scatter seekers on scatter grenade kill, and this effect can chain. Briar Binds enable a fun and unique playstyle for Void Warlock, but like many kill-oriented exotics, it struggles to scale into higher difficulty content. It now needs fewer kills to max out the Briar Bind's Void Soul damage bonus, decreased from 4 to 6. Additionally, the Void Soul now does more damage based on the amount of time it has been deployed on a target, up to 30% more damage after 10 seconds. Storm Dancer's Brace. The potency of this exotic is almost entirely tied to the power of Stormtrance itself. In the same way they have for some other super specific exotics, they've added a bit of neutral play to Storm Dancers and also a bit of quality of life improvements to its damage bonus. So while Stormtrance is equipped, now grants bolt charge for arc ability hits when amplified. Stormtrance damage bonus now builds on hits instead of kills, increased max count to compensate. Now needs 30 hits to cap, top end damage bonus is unchanged. Next up for Winter's Guile. Warlocks have had a much harder time scaling into melee-centric builds than both Titans and Hunters. Rather than updating Winter's Guile to essentially be the newer version of Worm God Caress but for Warlocks, they decided on a more arcane twist. A more Warlock-flavored version of that, incentivizing smart build crafting and how you build and spend your new benefits. Melee and finisher final blows grant bonus damage. Melee final blows grant 1 stack, finisher final blows grant 3. Max is 10 stacks for 4 times melee damage, and stacks are lost 1 at a time and last 4.5 seconds. Once you reach 10 stacks, immediately gain 1 melee charge and enter Warlord's Rage when you activate your melee ability. You have 10 seconds to activate the Warlord's Rage. While in this rage, you gain dramatically increased melee regen speed, faster melee speed. Melee damage bonus increases 5 times. This lasts 10 seconds and lose all stacks once Warlord's Rage ends. Matiodoxia. Warlocks have long asked for a super damage increasing exotic alongside the likes of Curious and Nighthawk. Hitting a target with 5 Needlestorm super projectiles will now also activate the Stylosticus Suspending Burst. The burst caused by the super deals radically increased damage to all targets caught in the radius. This burst should allow for Needlestorm to feel like a damaged contender with the likes of Curious Thundercrash. And lastly, we have Dawn Chorus. They say this one's a spoiler for next week's ability tuning article. They're buffing Solar Warlock's Daybreak super damage by 20% and letting Daybreak scorch targets by default. Essentially, they're shifting some of the Dawn Chorus functionality into the base super. The end result is that Dawn Chorus plus Daybreak's damage is being increased by 5%, and the combo will now allow you to cause ignitions with a single projectile. So again, Daybreak and Dawn Chorus damage increased by 5%, total scorch stacks increased. So there you have it, Guardians. We went over all the weapon tuning last week, and there you have the exotic armor. Let me know what you're excited to use and test out in the comments down below. But if you'd like to see some more Destiny news, lore, and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.